Happy morning, everyone. We are on our way to breakfast with Glenda. Oh, man. My last couple of days have really caught up with me, so I have to report that my energy level is really low. So one of the things I noticed when, remember a couple weeks ago I posted about how I have bags from Thailand that are coming from overseas and how the bags are smaller, right? Well, I had to ask Davida if I could have extra drain bags because I don't believe those smaller bags are able to hold what I have to get rid of. And I am so glad I said that for two reasons. One is this last weekend was just chaos when it came to my activities, and double chaos when it comes to my drains because I want to say Friday night's drain was 2430, which isn't too terribly bad, but that would mean that it really didn't pull a whole lot if there was a lot to be pulled. So there's that balance, you know. If I'm not consuming a lot, how is my drain affected by that? Because my body is still going to pull from someplace and hopefully get rid of stored fat, right? I mean, when I fast, I still drain good amounts because that's just what happens. And so I do fully believe that that is getting rid of old cells and old stuff that just needs to get out of my system. And so, sorry, it's so bumpy here. That's just a super positive, right? Well, if my drain was only 2430, to me that tells me that I probably did not drink enough and I was probably dehydrated, or it could mean that my bags are full of fibrin, and that's not good because that kind of means like I'm just basically, so what that means is I'm basically, my port is getting clogged up by the fibrin. Now, on Saturday, I did all 3 exchanges, and so with that, my exchanges were pretty decent. You know, it wasn't anything spectacular, but it was decent. But what was interesting was Sunday, because Sunday I did heparin to kind of break down that fibrin. I'm thinking it's starting to clog my port, and lo and behold, my drain at 2 o'clock was 2630. And I'm like, holy cow, that does mean that I was hanging on to quite a bit of fibrin. My port was pretty clogged, probably. But, you know, I remedy it with the heparin, so it works out. So when I did my next exchange, which would have been my drain, it was again 2630. So, as I started watching my drains from yesterday, it was a good number, and so I think, you know, I've remedied it that way, which is an important thing to keep track of, because if your number drops where it's like, oh my gosh, I only, you know, my last drain of the day was only 22, I would think maybe I need to do another exchange, throw some heparin in the bag, and see if that will help unclog things, because you don't want to have your port clogged. That's bad. Is it life-threatening? Probably, because you're not able to do your dialysis fully because your port is clogged. But I'm thinking that would be not like 911 kind of situation, but it's like something to be like, wait a second, something's off because my drain isn't that great. So that is just some way to kind of remedy it so that you have an idea. Because again, even though we do have our dialysis nurses there, we need to talk to them and, you know, keep them in the loop or whatever. But also, you are your own nurse if you're doing PD dialysis at home. So you want to make sure that you are definitely taking care of what needs to be done as well. And being aware of things. Don't just like nonchalantly be like, oh, I don't know, it's 22 with my last drain and it keeps decreasing. Well, yeah, something's wrong. So anyways, what was the other thing I was going to say? Let me think. So another thing I've come to realize is because those bags are smaller and I'm having to use extra drain bags, basically, I'm using 2 drain bags a day instead of just 1. That way my larger drain, which would be around 1 or 2 o'clock, has room to fill the bag instead of using the smaller one. That's why this is happening. I really accumulate a lot more trash. So I'm noticing I'm having to take like more trash out to the dumpster, which is, I don't know. I mean, I have to do it because I have to get the toxins out, but it makes me kind of sad because I'm like, oh, so much more trash is going into the trash bin. I don't know. I wish there was a way to recycle that stuff, even if it was not, again, you're not using it again for dialysis, but it's too bad. I don't know, maybe they do. Maybe at the garbage place they're like, oh, here's medical supplies, let's, I don't know, melt it down to do something with it, because just the trash itself is ugh. So yeah, that's all I had for today, for now, I guess. So that's what I have for our little ride over to the restaurant. We're going back over to Frida's cafe on Grant and Swan. It's one of our favorite spots because the atmosphere is so good, and so is the food, and the customer service always remembers us, and so that's important. By the way, today here in Tucson is fantastic. This whole week is going to be around 80, 85, maybe close to 90, but not yet this week. And then we dip down the weekend, which is wonderful because I just can't give into these hot days yet. So I'm glad that this weekend is going to be really nice, almost chilly. And then I'm sure from that point, we're just going to keep climbing up over 100. So anyways, enjoy your day. Have a good one. Bye-bye. So this is the newest update. Say hi, Charles. Charlie and I are walking home from daycare. Why are we walking home? That's a good question. So apparently my car decided to have a terrible oil leak that's going to cost $700 to fix. Thankfully, we have some mechanic friends, and Javier, my oldest son, is taking care of everything, so it is currently undrivable at a local QT. So today, they asked me, oh my gosh, Mom, you're supposed to pick up Charlie. And I am so proud of myself that I'm actually outside at 4:45 in the afternoon. It is 90. But you know what? God is good because there's a slight breeze and it's not as terribly hot as I thought it would be. So we are doing just fine, aren't we, buddy? So we're just going to take our little stroll home, which is fun because we've often taken this little stroll in the wintertime. So anyways, thought I would let you know what's going down today and why we're out strolling around. I will talk to you guys later. Drink your water. Bye-bye.